Hello, my name is Henriette and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'd love to have you here. In this video, I'm getting my front yard ready for Halloween and I want it to have a very natural look. So I've come to our local farm to ask if I may have some of their husks, their sweet corn husks. And as you can see, it's been a bad year for sweet corn. They're not very big, but I can still use them. The beauty is that these are totally natural and they are for free. When I get home, I hang them upside down in my greenhouse to dry. This usually takes 2 to 3 weeks. You don't need a greenhouse to dry these. You can hang them upside down anywhere and they will dry. I'm just hanging them out here because our house is currently full of hydrangeas hanging upside down to dry. But more on that in my next video. The time has also come to pick my pumpkins. I grew these from seeds earlier in the year and you may have seen that in one of my previous videos. They have done okay. It's not been a good year for pumpkins either. And the ones that have done the best are actually the zombie ones that are planted. Once Halloween is over, I will be taking some seeds from these that I can then plant next year. It may not be a big harvest, but I'll definitely be using these in my display. Another completely natural thing that I love to work with is straw bales, and I decided that it might be fun to build a sofa. We get many visitors for Halloween, and I like to create some areas where they can take some photos. I used 8 straw bales to build this sofa, and I'm going to decorate it first of all with a skeleton. To ensure that my skeleton stays in place, I'm going to insert a steel fencing pin. Now I'll be sure to link these below in the description box. When it's Halloween, it usually gets windy, so I make doubly sure that I tie everything down. I'm going to cross the legs over on this skeleton because it's a witch skeleton. And I want her to appear a little ladylike. I'm securing her foot to the string of the straw bale using a bit of wire. And I'm also going to use a bit of wire to tie her legs together, just so she stays in the same position. The same goes for her witch's hat. I don't want that flying away. Whenever I create a Halloween display, I love adding pumpkins here and there. And it's such a nice way to add that pop of orange. I'm going to finish this little area off with some lanterns, and we actually use real candles in these and it looks so magical at night time, but you'll see that towards the end of this video. Next, I wanted to get started on the semicircular lawn in our front yard, and I always start with the biggest things first. So here comes all the straw bales. This was good exercise for me. I love using straw bales for Halloween. They have such a big impact. I made these little witches myself and I'll be sure to leave a link in the description box below. This is my very own little coven of witches and I think they have turned out quite sweet. I simply tie their hands together using a little bit of black twine because I want them to be in a semicircle. This left the 2 witches at the ends with a dangling arm, and I wanted to make that look a bit better, so I'm going to add a couple of steel fencing pins so that I can use a broom. I'm using a Groundsman Besom broom and they are available from garden centres and they're quite cheap. Again, I'm making sure that I'm tying everything down so that nothing can fly away. And I'm also going to add a broom to the other side of the semicircle. To finish this off, I wanted to bring in a centerpiece, and I thought the cauldron that I'd made myself would work really well. Again, you can find that in a previous video, which I will link below in the description box. I'm adding a bit of firewood and also some orange lights underneath my cauldron to make it look more realistic and to really set it all off. I also wanted to add a bit of spookiness to my straw bales, so I brought out these spiders that I've had for many years. And I'm making sure again that they won't be going anywhere. So I'm tucking some of the legs underneath the straw bale strings. And I'm bringing in some pumpkins to add a punch of colour. It was time to bring out another one of my homemade Halloween props, and this one is the Scarecrow. If you want to see how I made this, then I'll make sure there's a link below. I did add a couple of safety pins to his collar so that his head definitely wouldn't fly off in any winds. Now my Scarecrow has a brother from the same mother, and I'm adding him to the other side of the semicircle of lawn. I made this one a couple of years ago. If you're enjoying this video, please like, comment and subscribe. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I promise that I will reply. We have 4 wrought iron gates leading to our home, and I love to decorate them for Halloween too. And this year I'm adding some spider's web and a spider of the large variety. A big thank you goes to Ollny for sponsoring this video. I really like Ollny lights because they're environmentally friendly, which is something that really matters to me. They are LED, which makes them inexpensive to run, and they don't overheat, so they're safe to touch. These are the G40 rope lights, which have this beautiful globe shape, and I've got the 150 feet long version. And if this isn't long enough for you, then they are connectable and you can add more lights. My husband Mike decided to come out and help me hang the lights up because he thought they might not be safe on the ladder. And I'm certainly not going to stop him when he wants to be a gentleman. All the little globes are shatterproof, and they're also IP67, which means they're waterproof. In fact, you can keep them underwater for up to approximately 30 minutes. That husband of mine was so impressed with how easy they were to clip onto the tree, because I did of course choose a tree to hang them in. We worked our way around the tree. Now this is the royal we of course, and I'll be sure to leave a link in the description box below to these full lit festoon lights, and I can't wait to show you what they look like when they're all lit up a bit later on in the video. Then it was time to decorate underneath the lights, and I'm starting off with a coffin that we made ourselves. You all gave me some great ideas for a name for the skeleton, and I'm gonna go with Skelly. Our front yard is on the big side, so I like to make these different vignettes here and there. Again, I'm going to be using some pumpkins, and this time I'm going in with a little spider. I'm making sure he doesn't go anywhere by placing some of his legs underneath the straw bale strings. I am a great believer in using what I've already got, so here comes a table and a chair from the greenhouse. I'm also going to bring in a straw bale, which I'm going to pretend is a footrest on this occasion. And the footrest is going to be for another skeleton witch. I'm going to sit her here so she can keep the other one company. She's also getting a witch's hat, which I'm going to firmly tie onto her head. I'm also going to be reusing my urns. Now I found these very cheaply a little while back, and Mike is back giving me a hand moving them into position. They are really heavy. I wanted to give them a little Halloween twist, so I started off by adding a large pumpkin. Then I got some bamboo sticks out of the greenhouse. We've used them all summer, but now they're just sitting there, just to give it some height. I'm just using some black twine to tie them together at the top. I then added a crow to the top of my pumpkin and then covered the whole thing in spider web. I felt that the witch could do with a broom, so I promptly gave her one. also really wanted to decorate the little table just a bit. So I'm going to start off by adding one of my lanterns, a couple of the pumpkins from my own garden, and some bones. Now this witch reminded me that I have a lot of witches' hats, so what's better than hanging them up in a tree? I'm using a bit of nylon string for this, and just because it's an old idea doesn't mean that it isn't a good idea. I'm loving the hats. So of course I'm not going to leave out our porch. Now our porch isn't that large, but I still want it to look spooky. And I'm going to begin with some of the things that I've made myself, like the ghost and this wreath. Now those of you who have been on my channel for a while will know that I often use apple boxes when I decorate my porch, and I'm going to use them again this time. I know that cats are meant to be black for Halloween, but I'm going to let Rupert have a free pass here. I found this gorgeous little wicker cauldron in HomeSense and it was just under $20. And I'm going to start off by filling it with some packing paper, which I'm then going to cover in some burlap or hessian. In the background here you can see our 150-year-old doorbell, and it still works. Isn't that just amazing? Our home is a Gothic Victorian, and we feel very fortunate to be living here. We used to drive past this house 20 years ago, and every time we'd be calling it our dream home, and we couldn't believe it when we finally managed to buy it 5 years ago. I love the fact that it's old and it comes with history. I mean, imagine how lucky this house has been. It survived 2 world wars and also, of course, developers. Many of these larger homes have obviously been turned into flats over the years, but not this one, and we are certainly going to keep it as a family home as long as we can. Now back to decorating, and it seems that I'm not the only one who's fond of straw bales. I'm adding these to the side of our porch to make it appear a bit larger. It's pumpkin time, and I'm going to add quite a few. I love adding the pumpkins to our display because I think they add that bright orange colour, which is a traditional thing for Halloween. I'm not really into bleaching my pumpkins or anything like that to make them last longer, because after Halloween we take some of the seeds out and then we chop them into smaller pieces and feed them to the wildlife down at the bottom of our garden. I acquired this skeleton cat a few years ago, and since then it's become tradition to have it somewhere in the front yard, and this year I'm going to put it near the porch and tie it to a straw bale. Rupert has certainly followed all the proceedings in the front yard, and he's still here watching what's going on. I'm just going to add some more lanterns, and then it's time to get out the husks. They've now dried and they look beautiful. Doesn't nature provide us with such lovely gifts? Every Halloween I leave a few bones all over the place, and the children that come to visit loves playing with them, and I quite often find them in the cauldron. I wasn't quite done with the witches' hats, and I found another little place where I could hang them, and I think they look pretty cute in these little niches. It's also really nice that they provide a bit of movement. I've come inside because I wanted to make some more bats. I got this template from Pinterest where you will find loads of free printables. I'm using foam sheets which you can pick up from most craft shops, and I'm cutting out 2 different sizes to make it more visually interesting. I cut out quite a lot because I want them to be flying across our front door, and I'm attaching them using a bit of sticky putty or blue tack. And that wraps up my front yard decor. I wanted to show you my finished display in the daylight because then you can see more detail, but of course this is not when it comes alive. That all happens at night time. My Halloween display is very natural looking, and of course it's also very homemade, and it may not be to everyone's taste, but the local kids here have enjoyed it for many years. For me, I guess what matters is that it is affordable and it is definitely unique to me. Last time we did this and had an open front garden for Halloween, we had over 900 visitors, which was so much fun, and it was lovely to meet the people in our community. Ollny certainly provided the magic when it came to night time. I mean, check out these lights, they are stunning. And this is what 75 LEDs warm white light looks like. They have certainly provided an atmosphere. Look how spooky but warm it feels at the same time. These are definitely quality lights at a very affordable price, and I will most definitely be using more Ollny lights for Christmas. So I know you've seen most of this during the daylight, but here comes a few videos from the evening, which was spectacular. In today's food segment, I wanted to show you a roasted tomato soup. Now this one is by Sarah Raven, and I'll make sure I link the recipe below in the description box. My grown-up son Alex absolutely loves tomato soup, and he's especially fond of this one, which he calls an elevated tomato soup. He is not wrong, because this soup most certainly packs a lot of flavour and it is delicious. I make soup all year round, however at this time of year I think it's really nice because the weather is changing and it's becoming cooler. So as my regular viewers know, I do like to talk a little bit about the history of various things, and this time of course it's gonna be tomato soup. The first jar of Campbell's beefsteak tomato soup first came out in 1895. I mean, imagine that is a long time ago. It didn't start off having the famous red and white label that we all know now. It was a black and orange label, and it was only the following year that it became red and white, and that was because a company executive attended an annual Cornell Penn football game. He was so impressed by Cornell's new red and white uniforms, so much so that he changed the label. And of course that label became an icon in 1962 when Andy Warhol debuted his painting, Campbell's Soup Cans. Back to my soup. And the reason why it is so full of flavour is because I'm adding things like fennel, ginger, lime, and coriander, all strong flavours. It's also got chilli in it, just a little bit. That's nearly all from me today. I'm going to leave you with some videos of me dishing up the soup. I wish you all a really happy Halloween, and of course, much love from London.